Welcome Sci 223 students. This video is an overview of the Milestone 1 assignment, which is due in Module 2. In terms of the final project, you're going to hit the ground running here with the selection of a scenario and discussion of APA ethical guidelines related to the selected scenario. Once again, I want to note that you have some guiding documents to help you. One, you're going to reference the scenarios and data sets document, which is this document right here. And the selection of your scenario is going to align with your concentration. So for example, scenario 1, child and adolescent development, you'd be working with the data below. Moving on, scenario 2 relates to the forensic concentration. Mental health, scenario 3. Scenario 4 is addictions, 5 social psychology, and the 6th relates to applied psychology. Links to the actual data sets are embedded within this PDF, and there'll be more to come on that later. For now, you're simply selecting a scenario aligned with your concentration. So if I jump back to the rubric here, you're going to make your selection. You're going to meet these criteria here for the introduction. These align with the critical elements of the grading rubric that you see here. Starting with A, you're simply going to discuss your scenario and the data set that you chose. And you're going to, important part here, explain why you selected that particular scenario and data set. For the second criterion, B, you're briefly going to summarize the scenario. Assume that the reader is not familiar with the scenario and provide a summary in your own words. Be sure to discuss the characteristics of the participants that are included within the sample, the data, and a research question that can be answered by statistical analysis. Make sure that your question is focused, not overly wordy, and aligns with the variables given in the scenario. For C, D, and E, you're going to focus on the APA ethical principles and their alignment to your selected scenario. For starters, you're going to talk about APA ethical alignment in terms of the scenario that you selected. You're going to talk about potential ethical issues that may arise when analyzing and reporting statistical data. Remember, as a researcher, and in this case you are taking on the role of a researcher, it is your ethical obligation to ensure that no harm is done to participants. Therefore, you must look ahead and discuss any potential ethical issues that could arise. For the final criterion, you're going to explain what you will do in your data analysis and reporting that ensures that your procedures align with the expectations of the APA's ethical principles. To get started, a good place to go is back to the scenario descriptions in the scenario and data set document. There you'll find some information related to ethics, but you should expand on this discussion to make sure that you meet the criteria C, D, and E outlined on the screen. Further, some of the scenarios actually highlight studies from which the data was taken. You may want to go back and revisit those studies to get more information about ethics related to the research. Your Milestone 1 submission should be no more than 3 pages, double-spaced in APA format. That's Times New Roman 12-point font, 1-inch margins all the way around. To provide additional guidance as you complete this work, use the Milestone 1 worksheet, which is linked here, and you'll see that there's additional guidance provided for you, some prompts for writing and meeting each of the criteria we just discussed. If you have questions as you begin to work on this milestone assignment, please feel free to reach out to your instructor.